Hello and welcome to Kitchen Conversations. I am your host, Meaghan Dawson, and I am here with one of Frisco's finest, Scott from Didi's downtown. Now, if you've ever been downtown and you've visited Didi's, I am sure that you have met Scott because he is a big personality and he is a lot of fun. But if you haven't, you're in luck, because we're going to sit down and chat today about Scott's history in this restaurant world. He has a good one, and we're going to talk a little bit about Didi's, and then he's going to make something really, really fun for us. Scott, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. So first, let's start by saying, typically, I am cooking along with the chef in a Kitchen Conversation episode, but with Scott, I'm really lucky. I get to sit back and relax and let him do all the work. So I poured myself a glass of wine and I'm just going to chat and soak up your stories. So thank you for letting me take a load off. Now tell me, I know we talked a bit about your history. You have been cooking for a long time, and this is not your first go round. You have an awesome restaurant history. So just tell me a little bit about yourself first, and then we'll talk about your transition to Didi's.
Sure. Well, my name is Scott Hoffner, and I'm a native Texan, born and raised in Plano, Texas. In fact, went kindergarten through my senior year there. And I started, cooking when 9-10 years old is really the truth of it.
Really, that young?
Yeah, one of my best friends kind of argues with me until I brought out I found a statement from 1985 of when I received my first paycheck that I had saved all these years. And he debates. I say 9, he says 10, and it's something we joke about. We've been joking about for a long time, for 35 years. So I started off at a little steakhouse in Plano off of Parker and Independence, and that guy used to make me dig through bus tubs of meat and coffee grinds and salad grinds and take the meat and put it into a country crock container. And every night when I'd check out, he would look at me and he'd say, "I don't care what my wife thinks about you, Scott, I like you." And I'd hand him this country crock container of grizzled meat that he'd give his dogs.
I was going to ask, why were you doing that? What purpose? I'm glad he wasn't feeding his patrons. It was for his dog.
It was for his dog, yes. To answer your question about why I started so early, my dad was a real hardworking guy. And so he really respected great work ethic. And I think psychologically looking back at it, I was kind of trying to impress him by working. And being in the kitchen, it just stuck. I realized, what food can do to people and how people react to it. It's something that you do when you're hungry, which everybody needs to do, so it's a necessity. But it's a time, food is something that, whether you're happy or you're sad, it can soothe your soul. It enhances everything around you. And I realized
I love food. It is emotional as well as physical. It meets a lot of different needs.
Well, and I completely agree. And that's why, you see at a wedding, 200 people eating scallops and lobster and shrimp cocktail and dancing, and it's completely festive. But you also, unfortunately, at a funeral, the first thing people ask is, "What can I get you? You need some food?" Platters start coming.
Right.
People start getting fed. And it's both ends of the scale. It could be, complete uber happiness to some of the saddest times of your life, but food is always there. At 18, I went to, and there's more jobs in between all of this. I worked at a place called Little Chef, which is a breakfast joint. I opened up another little diner called Lenny's. I opened up a sports bar on 75 in Parker in kind of East Plano, Richardson. And when I finished, I knew I was going to chef school, when I was in 9th grade, that was going to be happening. So off to Johnson & Wales.
Food grabbed you and did not let you go. For sure.
No, I haven't left the kitchen since I was a kid. Really, there hasn't been a year of my life. But I went to Johnson & Wales and I received 2 degrees there, one in culinary science and another in hospitality marketing. And then it was on. So, you know, now the thing about the history of most chefs is we've moved around a lot. So it may sound as if I'm just babbling, but it's just kind of facts and the way that it works. From culinary school, I was in Austin, Texas, where I got my first executive chef job at a place called the Wild Horse Grill, and that was in Marble Falls, Texas. And that's when, you know, I was 22, so it was kind of neat. I was cooking for Willie Nelson and Roger Staubach, Stone Cold Steve Austin back then, and also George Bush Sr. and his wife as well. They were customers of the restaurant that they frequented us. We were right on the lake. It was beautiful. And from there, I moved to California, where I became the chef of the Ojai Valley Inn and Spa. It's a 5-star 5-diamond resort in Ojai. Very, very special place. Anybody watching this, if you ever get a chance to go. It is a very, very, the sky goes pink at night. And that's like on the news, it'll say 617, the pink moment. It's just brilliant. So I was in California for quite some time, and I met my wife there. And then we had a child, and California was pretty expensive. So I got a job opportunity in Colorado, and went out to Colorado and worked out there for maybe 2-3 years. This little place called Beauregard. It was a home-operated, homegrown place, and it was a lot of fun. And then we decided to go and check out Montana, and that was a whole nother world. I was only in Montana for a year, although very beautiful. I was certainly I was out of place there. I don't really feel out of place anywhere. I ended up back here. There was a restaurant named Ed Bailey, and he actually owned 63 McDonald's and decided to open up these steakhouses called Bailey's Prime Plus. And I was brought back to open up that concept. Was there for a very brief period of time. It just wasn't my bag, and the way it was operated wasn't my thing. And unfortunately for them, they were only around for about 2 years. Those steakhouses all went under. But I moved on from there to a restaurant called Agave, which I was at. It was right on the lake, on Lake Ray Hubbard. Super cool place, boats pulling up, people partying, music, really good bar food we did. And then I left there to become Tyson Chandler's private chef for the Maverick. And that was in 2011. And that was super, super exciting. Being from Dallas, my first Mavs game was in '86. I'm a huge fan, so I got to be on, front row with the team, without the team. He threw parties at his house. I mean, it was just an amazing time. And then, of course, we won.
I was just going to say, I know nothing about sports, but I was pretty sure that's the year they won, right? They beat the Heat. Am I right?
Yes, you're right. We beat Miami. Well, we had to go through LA and Kobe Bryant. God rest his soul, poor guy. But yeah, we went through LA, and then we finished Miami in game 6. We didn't even go to 7. So what was neat about that was just Tyson's whole family thought they were going to be going to game 7. And they ended up being delayed on their flight home. So when Tyson came home, it was just me and him in his house. Wow. So I got to spend the first several hours with him, just the two of us in his house, hanging out, talking about the season. Probably one of the more special times of my life, to be honest. It was super neat. In between there, I was also Jason Hatcher's private chef for the Dallas Cowboys, and did some private stuff with a couple of names I actually can't mention due to non-disclosures, NDAs.
Intriguing.
But yeah. What's that?
It's very intriguing. I'm like,
Yeah, that's got to be kind of a private conversation, but there's
that's fine. We do understand. We just think it's super cool, and so are you. Okay, go ahead.
So now we're here at Didi's. This restaurant was a place called Stan's for a long time. It was around the corner from my house, and I would come here and frequent here at the bar when I get done with work, and they always had live music. And for a long time, I kind of always wanted to be in this spot. It's a great location and in the heart of the rail district, downtown Frisco. I mean, surrounded by big pecan trees with a patio, just like perfect for what like my needs are and the size of the restaurant. And the opportunity. I got a phone call when I was headed to New Orleans, actually, to go eat with my dad. We were going to go to New Orleans for a couple days. And as I was getting on the plane, I got the phone call that the tenants that were here prior, you know, weren't going to re-sign their lease or whatever it was. They weren't interested in staying here for the time being. And I got the opportunity, so I took it. And now we're here.
So you went through this incredible career. I mean, not that you're dropping names, but there are a lot of names dropped in there, and there aren't a lot of chefs that I can say that I know personally that can drop that many names and then not drop names because you signed an agreement not to drop names. So what was the transition then to Didi's? What is the inspiration? Tell me a little bit about just the menu. I love it, but for the people that don't know, what type of cuisine do you have? What's Didi's all about?
Well, my goal is to have a little bit of something for everybody. I like a lot of different flavors from all over the place. I really love Cajun food. I love French food. I love Caribbean, which, you know, all that encapsulates, you know, Cajun, New Orleans style Louisiana food. But I really am heavily influenced by Cantonese and Szechuan cooking. I love Northern and Southern Italian food. And I love American flair, which is really kind of tricky because there's not really a lot of American food. It all comes from other places. But that's what makes American food fun, because it's a combination of all the things throughout the world and the melting pot that America is. I guess as far as my style goes, or what the restaurant is, you know, you could call it American Continental. You could, you know, I don't really know what it is. I love cooking fish. I like purveying fish and bringing in fantastic products. You know, as you hear, I'm not using the word fresh because they always should be. I can't stand it when people say it's fresh. Well, okay, that's good. I mean, like, do you prefer something rotten?
What's the opposite, right?
I want to be a place that you can come in with your buddy on a Monday night and watch the game and have some beers, and then you and the wife come out on Friday night or Thursday night and have a date night, and then on Sunday you come in for brunch with your kids. Like, that's, you know, it needs to be, you got to be able to keep your fingers on it. And you go to a fine dining restaurant, you know, it costs you $300 to go out for the evening for two people. You do that once in a while. This is an old house. This house was built in 1912.
It's awesome.
When people are here, I want them to feel that they're in a house. Really, I want you to be able to feel like you're at home. It's not meant to be fancy. Excuse me. It's meant to be a place of comfort, a place where you can sit back and feel the breeze, listen to some music, laugh with your friends, and enjoy some great food and great hospitality.
I understand you're going to be cooking something for us, which I can't wait to see you in action, knowing that you cooked for famous people, ex-presidents, athletes, all the things. I want to see you actually in action, because normally I just get to see you chatting with the customers. So tell me what you're going to cook, and then we'll take a trip back to the kitchen.
Okay, well, let's get this on, because what we're about to do right now, lady, is tuna on fire.
Please say it like that every time you make it, please.
Fire.
All right, I'm so excited. I'm ready. Let's do it.
This dish is super simple, and that's why I wanted to do it for the show, because this is something folks really can do at home. So the step-by-step approach with this is we're going to make a little cucumber and onion salad. So right here I have rice wine vinegar. That's a half a cup. And then I'm going to add a quarter cup. And you want to do this first, so when you put your cucumber and onions into the mix, it gets nice and marinated. And this can actually sit with the cucumbers and onions for a couple of days. It just takes on more flavor. It's kind of like making a homemade pickle.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I'm adding a quarter cup of sugar. And then I add a little bit of sriracha. That's about a half ounce. Right there. And then a little sprinkle
Get to hear that sprinkle? Sprinkle.
Yeah.
Little sprinkle.
Sprinkle. Yeah.
So we'll do a little sprink, and then we're gonna whisk it up. Now what's really important, you see how it gets that little pretty color right there? I'm colorblind, but I'm pretty certain it's like a pinkish red.
It is. It's pinkish red. Perfect color.
You want to get that sugar dissolve really well. I wanted to find the biggest cucumber I could find.
You did. Success.
It's a pretty big cucumber here. So what we're going to do is we're going to peel it. I suggest, and I'll tell you, I've seen this a million times in the kitchen, if you take this cucumber and you go over a trash can with it, you know where it ends up?
In the trash can.
In the trash can. We're going to peel it. Now, this is like kind of a funky little peeler. Some people got the ones that jam like that. I like to make strips down the cucumber. Also, make sure you clean your cucumber. Keep that cucumber clean.
Yes, there you go.
So I made a nice little strip. Now, truthfully, if I'm doing this quickly, this whole dish can be made in 5 minutes, really.
If you weren't teaching us how to do it as you
I
go.
wasn't talking about it, yes. So once you get it down, you make a couple little strips on it. This is just all for aesthetics. Also, the rind of the cucumber can be a little bit bitter. So it takes away a bit of the bitterness, and so you get more of the fruit. Everybody knows that this is a cousin to the watermelon, right? Mostly made of water.
I think 50% of the people did not know that, and now they do. You're welcome, viewers. You just learned something.
They're like they're cousins.
Yeah.
So you just kind of take the end off. Key is to try and do it as close to the tip as possible. That way you're not wasting cucumber. Now most people at home aren't worried about that, but when you're trying to make money with food, every little penny counts. Okay? Now this guy is so big, this cucumber, we won't eat them all. We made a cut down the middle. Maybe I will just make it all. And then I'm going to make a cut down the center. So we will core it out again. Another one. See right there, and then look. Boom. This is another episode. Let's see. Like I can see through, like a little telescope.
There you go. So I have made stuffed zucchinis at home when we were trying to watch our carbs, which we're not anymore. But I would stuff them with like tomato and onion and put some panko on top and some cheese, and they'd be like little pizza boats type things.
You're making that sound super sassy.
I know it's not. It was super easy, but I just sounded really fancy. So you're welcome.
Now we're going to do a bias cut on the cucumber. When I say bias, we're going to turn it sideways, right? And then I'm going to go on a bias cut. This gives it a really neat look.
Now, if people at home just wanted to do straight, though, they could. It wouldn't.
You do it just like this. You could just make it into little moons. Just like that. I mean, you could, if you wanted to, change the cut completely. You could make it into a brunoise cut, which is 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch. You could even leave them like little sticks like I just made them. If you wanted different shapes. So you just cut. No. Now we have a bunch of different. We have a dice, we have a half moon, and a bias cut.
It's like a cucumber party. Look at that.
It is a cucumber party. Onion, red onion.
Perfect.
Again, this onion is enormous. All the produce is a little
cold. When you're a home cook, even if, I mean, I've ruined pans. Ask my husband. He's like, how many pans do I have to buy? Because I ruin things a lot, apparently. But you can't really lose. Just keep trying. It's going to be okay. Just cook. It's going to be okay.
Yeah, it's just like in that movie, Finding Nemo. And in that, what's her name? Dory?
Dory, just keep swimming.
Just keep swimming, right? Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. And it'll work out. All right, so we peeled off the outer layer of the onion. You can see I just cut it in half. This is no good to eat if people aren't aware of that. But it's not. And so we're going to just do a thin julienne cut. You can see the little lines that are into this onion, also called a Bermuda onion. So I try to make these as thin as possible. Please, when you do this, you don't need to try and go as fast as me. I'm not trying to go fast. I'm trying to be accurate and make nice, equal cuts.
What Scott is saying is we like your fingers, keep them.
They are, and I've kind of almost lost some of mine, but I've been fortunate. So look how pretty they are. You break them out. All right, we have enough onion. So now we've had our vinegar mixture. Give it another whisk. Incorporate it all. And then we're going to add our cucumbers. Now the cucumbers are going to leach. For those of you who don't know what that means, it means the water in the cucumber is going to get released out of it. And it's going to add liquid to the salad. So even if you don't think you have like I used, what did I use? A half a cup and a quarter cup. Even though they're not fully submerged at this moment, in like 20 minutes, they will be.
Okay.
Because all the liquid will come out of cucumber. Boy, does that smell good already. I'm going to get this pan going while I'm showing you this garnish technique.
Okay.
Because this pan needs to be extremely hot to do what we are doing.
Okay, so people at home, does that mean like high burner?
You want high heat. You need to have all of this stuff basically done.
Okay.
And you don't want to use olive oil. Olive oil burns. It's got a very low smoking point. You want to use a canola oil, a grapeseed oil, something that can handle high heat.
Okay.
So I'm putting the oil in the pan. I just lightly coat the bottom just to give it a nice sheen. You can already see the heat from it right there. So I'm going to turn it down for a sec while it's warming up so that way we can get to it real quick. Now this is one of the garnishes that I use. I can do it over here so it's easier for you. Green onions. Pretty simple, right?
Yeah. They're like 40 cents at the grocery store. There's no excuse not to have them.
So what I do is I turn them, I cut them into kind of equal lengths, the tubes. You keep the rest of it because it's good for soups. It's good for baked potatoes. And they just trim them up. You see the little tubes?
Yep.
You want to look for ones that are pretty firm on the outside. So the inside is kind of stiff. Now check this out. You can see, once again, it's like a little tube.
Yep.
Now this knife is crazy sharp. You do need a sharp knife, and this you need to do slowly, okay? So you just go down the center of it, right?
Okay.
And now I'm gonna open it up.
This is scary.
Open it up,
Okay.
right? So we got it like this. Now I'm gonna flatten it out. And then I'm going to just go right along those edges and make them as small and thin as possible.
Look at that.
Now, we've got a hot, hot pan. You can see the smoke coming off of it.
Screaming hot.
Now, with the tuna, one of the keys to the tuna, as you can see, I have it left out. I'm not trying to get it to room temperature. I'm just trying to get a little chill off of it.
You don't want it cold.
You don't want it ice cold. And when you think about it, like imagine when you're cold and somebody gives you a lot of heat, you tense up, you seize up. You know, that's what happens to the meat. The meat does the same thing. If you go directly in super cold, it's like, ah, and then it's like hurting it almost to a degree. Now, some things, requires really high heat, but we want to have it just a little bit of the chill taken off. So here's my blackening seasoning right here. You can make this with cayenne, paprika, a little garlic powder, some people use a little bit of thyme in there. It's down in New Orleans, some folks will. We've got it really nice and crusted and coated. And we're gonna sear it. Now here's something that's super important, okay? When you put fish in a pan this hot, you put the fish away from you. You do not want this coming back, this oil coming back on your neck, your face, any part of your body, man, you're going to the emergency room. they're going to get you a gallon of Silvadine. So when you put the fish down, away from you, gently.
Yeah, you're not going to put it that way. Okay, I see.
Now check this out. We're getting that high heat sear on it. This only takes a second.
You can hear it.
Boom. See the color on it?
Oh, it's pretty.
Now, I've just turned off the heat. There is no more fire going to that because we want this thing rare. You let the heat do the residual cooking. Boom. Boom. Right? That's it. That's how fast that was. All right. So now we slice the tuna. I'm going to let it rest for a second. Just let it kind of chill out. And we'll start making our salad. We're going to slice out the tuna.
I can't wait to see the inside. It's going to be so pretty. And just so our viewers know, if you get tuna and it doesn't look like that, send it back. Correct?
If you want it a nice rare, yes.
Yep.
I completely agree with you. So we'll set her down, right? And this is what's so fun about this dish. It's really just, it's not that challenging. And when you taste it, if you haven't had it here, it's one of those things where people are just kind of wowed by it. All right. So now you clean up the plate a little bit.
Pro tip.
I like those cucumbers poking out, kind of pretty. Now this is the part where it becomes tuna on fire. Sriracha.
You have to say it that way when you order it, just FYI. Look at that.
That's it. A little sriracha. Some sesame seeds. And our fun little green onions.
Look how pretty that is. And it took him no time. Home cooks, you can do this, but just go to Didi's and order it, because why would you do it?
And there you have it. Tuna on fire, compliments of Didi's downtown, where it all goes down.
I love it. Thank you so much for joining us, Scott. It has been a pleasure. It has been, I know, I'm starving right now. I just have my wine, now I need some tuna.
Let me show you one other thing real quick.
Okay, yes.
Homemade hot fudge pies.
Nuh-uh.
Ooh, hot fudge pie.
I want one of those. I want one of those. I want me one. I just turned into a 5-year-old asking.
Well, we appreciate it. Thanks for thinking of us.
Yes, it's been a pleasure. You're a true Frisco gem. I'm not sure how many people are aware of what a treasure we have in the Rail District with Didi's downtown. Please go take care of the local places that have been taking care of us for so long. Be kind, give grace, and eat local, friends. Thank you so much.
You bet. Have a great day.